Today we are going to be talking about the second chapter, but in the end of last chapter, I did introduce you to the process groups, to the knowledge areas, 10 knowledge areas, 5 process groups, and I did show you a chart in which the process groups and all the 49 processes were mapped against a matrix on process groups on one side and knowledge areas on other side, and you could see there that the number of total processes in totaling up to all the knowledge areas is also 49, and all the process group processes, if I total up, they are also 49. So basically they are the same 49 processes. You are looking at them from two different angles. One is the process group angle and other is the knowledge area angle. Actually, that chart which I showed you needs further explanation, and I would like to address it in the beginning of fourth chapter, where we will start the integration. So I am not discussing that now, but after we have discussed the chapter number 2 and 3, then I will again get back to it and we will talk in detail about it. Okay. So in chapter 2, this is about the environment in which the project operates. I hope you can see that. What we are going to be covering here today is the overview, enterprise environmental factors. We'll talk about internal and external. Then organizational process assets we'll talk about, in which we have the policies, processes, policies and procedures on one side and organizational knowledge repositories on the other side. Then we have got organizational systems, and that in organizational systems we'll talk about the overview, organizational governance frameworks, management elements and organizational structure types. So this is what I intend doing today. In the overview, it says projects exist and operate in an environment that may have an influence on them. You see, projects do exist in an environment naturally, and there are impacts of various things on the project from within the organization and from outside of the organization, right? So there are internal and external factors affecting a project, and we have to be very careful about it because uh, when we are doing a project and suddenly we learn that there is a environmental factor which is impacting us, and we have to tailor everything accordingly. Why don't we be proactive, and right from the beginning of the project we consider those enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets? Now, there are two main categories which influence. One is the enterprise environmental factor and other is the organizational process asset. As far as the enterprise environmental factors are concerned, these are the factors, not the documents actually. These are the various factors which impact a project in positive or negative way. These factors could be internal or external to the organization, and they are not necessarily documentary in nature. Like you see, severe weather is impacting your project, so that is a factor. Government regulation is impacting your project, that is a factor. Customer wants something, so it is impacting. Market conditions, or maybe dollar value has gone up, and things like that. All of these things are actually somehow, in one way or the other, they are impacting your project internally or externally. So these are the enterprise environmental factors. We will talk about what are the internal and what are the external factors, but generally speaking, these are the factors, these are not the documents. Like, if I talk about the internal factor, maybe the culture within your organization is enterprise environmental factor internally, or the way of working, the style of working in our organization, or how punctual we are in the organization. All these things are like your internal factors. Now, in addition to the enterprise environmental factor, we also have organizational process assets. These are those process assets which are documentary in nature. These are the various documents we are talking about, which will provide us the guidelines, the processes, the procedures, rules, regulations formats, templates, uh, and so on and so forth. So all of these things which are uh, provided to the project for the purposes of historical data or some guideline or some policy or governance or whatever, this all is your organizational process asset. This organizational process asset can also be further subdivided into two parts. I would like to call it like, one is a read only section and other is a read and write section. Read only section I will call that things which are you can't change, but you are supposed to follow. So if there is an organizational policy, or procedure, or rule, or regulation, so these are the things you can't change, but you are supposed to follow. So these are to be followed. These are unchangeable, and they are read only. Then there are certain things which you not only can follow, but if you like, you can update them also. It is like the old record of previous projects. So the files, the documents, the registers, the databases, whatever had been created in earlier projects, that all is made available to you. And you, while you are seeking guidance and help from these documents, you will do your project, and whatever new things you will learn, new knowledge base you will create, that will be submitted to this knowledge base, which is organizational process assets for future guidance to future projects. Therefore, that would be then called the repository. This is kind of a database which anyone else in future who would be coming would be able to access. So your data will also be included into it. That's why I'm calling it read and write type. So these are two types of organizational process assets. Yeah, exactly, Shazad. This is Baba Shazad. These are lessons learned. Not only lessons learned, but in addition to lesson learned is one part of these archives. There could be a lesson learned database. There could be a risk database, registered database. There could be many other databases or many other files and folders which are keeping the record of all these things. Old, which is also you can call it historical information, right? Taking them one by one, enterprise environmental factors originate from the environments. Yeah, editable means the things which you are you I'm taking a data from a file and then I'm updating the data into that file. Meaning what I have learned from the previous experience of the people and I am leaving my experiences into the same archive for futures to guide to follow. This is a editable kind of a thing. This is a read and write kind of a thing. So these are the archives or repositories, knowledge repositories I am creating, and I have been inherited with also. But the first thing, which was the policies and procedures, I cannot write the policies and procedures for the organization or for the project management. This has been inherited to me. I have to follow it, and I can't write it, right? So this is enterprise environmental factors. But there are certain things which can be updated in enterprise environmental factors also. Like when you are dealing with the culture of the organization, when you are hiring people, you are doing things in your project, then they may leave some impact on enterprise environmental factors. Maybe if your culture is internally changed due to the functioning of this project, so you are leaving some lessons learned into the enterprise environmental factors, and that impact is going to travel. So some things in enterprise environmental factors can also be updated, especially related to resources and human resources. So enterprise environmental factors, as I said, originate from the environment outside of the project, often outside of the enterprise, and sometimes inside of the organization as well. EEFs may have an impact on the organizational portfolio, program, or project level, and we'll talk about these. OPAs are internal to the organization. OPAs, organizational process assets, are always internal to the organization. Any rule or regulation outside of the organization is not a OPA. OPA means organizational process assets. So all the rules and regulations, policies and procedures within the organization, laws, rules, everything, these are the organizational process assets, and a project is allowed to use them. They may arise from the organization itself, a portfolio, a program, or another project, or a combination of these. So this can be developed. Okay, so if you look at the influences, there are two types of influences: enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets, which are internal, and EFs are enterprise environmental factors are external or internal, and internal OPAs, they have the processes, policies, and procedures on one side, and corporate knowledge base, which I said editable, that is on the other side. In addition to enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets, organizational systems play a significant role in the life cycle of the project. System factors that impact the power, influence, interest, competencies, and political capabilities of the people act within the organizational system are discussed further. That is the third section we'll be discussing in this chapter. Enterprise environmental factors refer to conditions not under the control of the project team. That is important. Enterprise environmental factors are not under the control of the project team, but they do influence, constrain, or direct the project. So the influence they are causing could be positive or negative. They may constrain your options. They may facilitate you. These conditions may be internal as well as they may be external. Enterprise environmental factors are considered as input to many project management processes, specifically from planning process. So what does that mean? When we are starting the project, initially we do not have much to receive as an input. So we are receiving a lot many things from the environment. From the project environment, we are taking a lot of input. Like, when the project starts and we have to write a charter, develop a charter. To develop a charter, I need to have a lot many things coming from the stake. How does the stakeholder think about it? What is the pressure from the customer side and things like that? What are the government policies, how this should be done. So even writing a charter would entail catering for a lot of enterprise environmental factors internally as well as externally. Internal culture, internal style, this also will impact you. And I will also be consulting organizational process assets when I'm developing a charter. What is the format of the charter? What are the guidelines of the organization about writing the charter? Who will write the charter? Who is supposed to, sign it? Who is supposed to receive it? What are the actions to be taken? So all these policies and procedures are already existing and they are to be followed. So these are both from both sides. Maybe I have all the policies, I have the format of the template of the charter, but I need more help. I need to see the experience of a previous project manager. So I may dive into the depository and find a similar project and try to look at the charter of that project and seek help from there. So this I am now getting it from the repository also. So I can seek help from anywhere in the organization process assets or enterprise environmental factors. So this is EAFs are considered as input, as I said. Now, similarly, organizational process assets are also inputs to most of the projects in processes during the planning and even later also. So if somebody says that these two things, enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets, are to be input to every process of project management like the 49 processes, I don't mind saying that. There is no problem in that. But generally speaking, yes, of course, they can be input to any process at any time throughout the life of the project. So all the 49 processes could have both of them, but there are some processes which may not need them. Why? Because they are too far ahead in the life of the project, and whatever they need as an input is already complete, and they don't need any assistance from enterprise environmental factor or organization process assets. But those processes which are being done in initiation and planning in the very beginning of the project, they will rely more on enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. So as such, there is no rule You don't need to remember each and every process that which has these things as input and which doesn't. Almost 80 to 90% of all the processes do have them as input. So, as a rule, just consider that these are to be input to every process of the project management. Where they are not, we will look at it and we'll mention it specifically. So these factors may enhance or constrain the project management options. I'm talking about an enterprise environmental factors, and naturally, as I said, positive and negative impact. They vary widely in the type or nature. These factors need to be considered if the project is to be effective. Uh, EFs include but are not limited to the factors, and I'll show you a list of some of the enterprise environmental factors. Like some of the internal factors could be like organizational culture, your organizational structure, and your governance. Governance of the organization is also a factor. It is not a document. This is a factor. But if you have written down the governance framework in form of a document, that will be considered as an organizational process asset. But the governance itself is the factor, internal factor. Geographic distribution of facilities and resources. Infrastructure is a factor. Information technology software, if you are using it, is a factor. Resource availability, employee capability, all of these things are internal enterprise environmental factors. Like in organizational culture, structure, and governance, the examples are the vision and mission and values and beliefs, cultural norms, leadership styles, hierarchy and authority relationship, organizational style, ethics, code of conduct. All of these things are examples of the organizational culture, style, and governance. Then geographic distribution could be your factory locations, how far they are located, are your offices where they are located. They're in the same place, or the different cities, or maybe different countries across the continent. Maybe you are working on virtual teams. The things will accordingly be changed according to that. Shared systems, cloud computing. If you are using, some of the people in IT and others are also using cloud computing very extensively. Infrastructure includes the existing facilities, equipment, organization, telecommunication channels, IT hardware availability and capacity, etc. IT software will include the scheduling tools, MS Project you are using, or Primavera, configuration management system, whatever system you are using for keeping a record of all the various versions of your documentations and products. Web interfaces to other online automated systems and work authorization system. Work authorization system is a very interesting thing. Work authorization system means that you might have heard about time card system in factories. Can anyone tell me what is a time card system in factories? Please raise hands. Nobody wants to answer that. Time card system. G Faisal.
सर ये टाइम कार्ड्स को मैं अगर क्योंकि नॉर्मली जो मैन आवर्स की कैलकुलेशंस होती हैं
जी जी जी
एक्चुअल में उसके ऊपर जो लोकेशन मैन आवर्स होती है कि इसमें इस इंडिविजुअल ने क्या काम करना है, तो
यस
ये भी इसको मैं सेंस में भी ले रहा हूँ। और दूसरा ये होता है कि इससे एक्चुअल पता लग जाता है इस काम के ऊपर कितने टाइम स्पेंड हुआ,
एग्जैक्टली
तो मैं इसको समझ रहा हूँ।
बिल्कुल जनाब, यही इसका पर्पज है कि प्लानिंग तो आप जो मर्जी करते रहे, इवन प्रोजेक्ट की बात नहीं हो रही, इवन इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑपरेशंस, this is an operational system basically. Work authorization system is basically a operational system. So this is a kind of a record you keep of who worked on what work from what to what time. Or in other words, first let me give you the example of the factory. When because the work the laborer's work in a factory is like consistent, so it is counted according to the hour. So if he has worked 8 hours, his productivity should be this much. So what they do is, as soon as a laborer enters the factory, there is a time card machine where they punch their cards into the machine, and that punches the time stamp on it, which says that this person entered at this time, and when he goes out, again it is stamped. So this much time is recorded, logged into the factory time, and this will point to the productivity we are expecting. Though it is a very good system, but as it is explained by Faisal, it is even better that whenever you want to start a work, although I have given you that you will daily come in the morning at 9 o'clock, you will start doing this job, but daily at 9 o'clock you will come to me and you will get the authorization of any work you are just going to start. That means you are logging in your time with me that I am starting this work now, and when you leave, you will again log in that time with me. That is a work authorization system. In a way, I have authorized you to work from this time to this time, and therefore it can be later on used for analysis purposes. Then we have the resource availability, like purchasing constraints are there, approved providers and subcontractors are there, collaboration agreements. So when we are getting the resources from outside, so probably these are through the contracts or maybe so other hiring people or getting them on contract or due to some collaboration agreement, whatever they are. Are you able to listen to me? Because I get a warning that audio quality is poor. Please raise hands if you are okay with the sound. Okay, fine, fine. So it is an indication that maybe the sound quality will go down. But anyways, we will continue. Employee capability, existing human resource expertise, their skills, their competencies, any specialized knowledge they are carrying, this all is the employee capability. So these are various internal factors. And talking about the external factors, there could be the marketplace conditions. This is not internal, this is external to the organization. Is the marketplace conditions are there, social and cultural influences are there, legal restrictions are there, commercial databases are there, academic research, government or industry standards, financial considerations, or any physical environmental elements. So in marketing conditions, we could have competitors. Competitors are coming in the market and bringing something better than me. The market share, brand recognition, and the trademarks, these all matter in the marketplace conditions. From social and cultural influences and issues point of view, we have the political climate. We have the codes of conduct, ethics, and perceptions. Then in the legal restrictions, we country or local laws and regulations may relate to certain security requirements, some data protection requirements, business conduct, how the business will be conducted in this country, employment. These are all the laws and regulations. Commercial databases, benchmark, benchmarking results, standardized cost estimation data, industry risk study information, and risk databases. You see, we count a lot on these databases because if some publishing houses publish some survey or results, they actually are going to affect us. And we are going to rely on those results as well. Academic research, industry studies, publications, and benchmarking results. Government or industry standards, regulatory agencies like regulations and standards about products, productions, environment, quality, workmanship, whatever you are using. Maybe you are using the ISO standard for quality. Financial considerations, currency exchange rate, interest rate, inflation rate, tariffs, geographic location. Physical, environmental elements could include the working conditions, weather, and constraints. These were the enterprise environmental factors. So, after having briefly being introduced to the enterprise environmental factors, let's now talk about organizational process assets. Uh, these are the plans, processes, policies, procedures, and the knowledge bases all put together, specific to and used by the performing organization. So these are always internal. These are always for the organization. These are not external. These assets influence the management of the project again in positive or negative ways. OPAs include any artifact that is a document, practice, or knowledge from any or all of the performing organizations involved in the project that can be used to exchange, execute, or govern the project. If there are more than one organization and there is a joint venture kind of a thing, then the organizational process assets of both the organizations will be applicable to the project. The OPAs also include the organization's lessons learned from previous projects and historical information. OPAs may include completed schedules, that is the old documents, completed schedules, risk data, and earned value data that is in the repositories, and OPAs are inputs to many of the project management processes, just like enterprise environmental factors. Since OPAs are always internal to the organization, the project team members may be able to update and add to the organization process assets as necessary throughout the project. They may be grouped into two categories. Policies, procedures, and all is one category, and the organizational knowledge base is the second category. Processes, policies, and procedures are not updated as part of the project work. It is not the responsibility of project to update the processes, policies, procedures, rules, regulations, templates. This is not their job. So process, policies, and procedures are usually established by the PMO. If you have a PMO, this is the primary responsibility of the PMO to develop these policies, procedures, and uh, processes for the project for the project management, or another function outside of the project. If PMO is not existing, somebody else may be responsible for taking care of this issue. These can be updated only by following the appropriate organizational policies associated with updating processes, policies, and procedures. Some organizations encourage the team to tailor templates, life cycles, and checklists for the project. So, what they do is they will provide you a basic format of a document, and it will have possibility of addition to the form. You could tailor the form according to your needs, fulfilling the basic requirement. But naturally, that is a little tricky. Although this is good, but this is a little tricky. Generally, organizations develop their own formats, templates, and they give those templates to the project managers on the projects, and projects are supposed to fill all the documents exactly according to that template. In these instances, the project management team should tailor those assets to meet the needs of the project. Organizational knowledge base are updated throughout the project. Knowledge base is the lesson learned. The other part, the old files, so they can be updated by the project because project results will also be submitted into the organizational knowledge base. So this our project information will add to it. For example, information on financial performance, lessons learned, performance metrics, and issues and defects are continually updated throughout the project. Organizations' processes and procedures for conducting project work include but are not limited to in initiating and planning during the starting process groups. When we are initiating the project, planning the project, we have the guidelines and criteria for tailoring the organization's set of standard processes and procedures to satisfy the specific needs of the project. Then we have the specific organizational standards, such as different policies, within the organization. You have quality policy, you have HR policy, or health and safety, or whatever kind of policies and procedures are in vogue in the organization. They will come under this specific organizational standards. Then we have the product and project lifecycle. Organizations usually have customized product and project life cycles and the methods and procedures for doing the project management. Therefore, they can be advised. They can be there to be followed, and this could include the project management method, estimation metrics, process audits, improvement targets, checklists, and standardized process definitions. Then are the templates. There could be any number of templates. These are just few samples in front of you. The template could be of the charter template. There could be a project and plan template, project document template, project register template, risk register template. whatever artifacts are to be created in a project, they could have a standardized template created already by the PMO. Then pre-approved supplier list and various types of contractual agreements. Again, in the archive, we can have a list of pre-approved um vendors or any contractual agreements. The standard format of the contract might also be provided there. Um, why do we have pre-approved vendor list? In organizations which do most of their work by outsourcing, what they do is they pre-select various vendors in various categories, and these are the ones who are given all the projects subsequently. Like military engineering services, what they do is they have got a lot of work going on in different categories. So what they do is they have categorized into all the engineering work they do into three categories: class A, class B, and class C. So they have divided these categories according to their you know the amount of the project, the worth of the project. So class C is the lowest category, and for registering as a contractor in class C, you might have a requirement to have this many number of engineers, this many years, number of years of expertise and all that. So a criteria is set for class C, a criteria is set for class B, and a criteria is set for class A. All those willing to apply for that, they apply for that, and if they fulfill the requirement and pay some kind of a certain fee to MES, they are registered as pre-approved supplier. Now, this is a very beneficial thing. It saves a lot of time. Once I have pre-approved sellers for specific purposes already available, then when I need to purchase anything, I will simply look at the list, and whomsoever is available, I can assign him the job. So I don't need to, go out in the open market and try to find out, because I have got ample number of uh, registered stakeholders, contractors in class A, B, and C categories. So I can simply pick up, or I can request class A. If it is a class A project, I can request class A pre-approved customers to bid for it. Whomsoever is the cheapest, I will go for him. Maybe this could be used as a method. And whatever kind of contractual agreements are going to be there, we could have pre-defined contractual templates, or even the complete agreements prepared on different formats: fixed price format, cost reimbursable format, time and material contract. So this could be available in the processes. During execution and monitoring and control, we could use the change control procedures, which include the steps by which performing organization standards, policies, plans, and procedures, or any project documents will be modified, how any changes will be approved and validated. Then we have got traceability matrices. Then we have got financial control procedures like time reporting and required expenditure, cost, accounting codes by which we report the cost, standard contract provisions, issue and defect management procedures, which define issue and defect controls, identifying and resolving issues and defects, and tracking action items. Then resource availability control and assignment management. So these all are happening in execution, monitoring, and control. Organizational communication requirements like specific communication technology available, authorized communication media, record retention policies, video conferencing, collaboration tools, and security requirements. These all are OPAs which can be used in execution, monitoring, and control. Procedure for prioritization, approving, and issuing work authorizations. Templates, all types of templates. Then standardized guidelines, work instructions, proposal, evaluation criteria, and performance measurement criteria. And finally, product, service, or result verification and validation procedures. These all are there in the organizational process assets. As far as closing is concerned, for project closure, we must have some guidelines or requirements like how the final project audit will be conducted, project evaluations will be conducted, deliverable is acceptance, contract closure, resource reassignment, and knowledge transfer to production our operations. The organizational knowledge repositories for storing and retrieving information include but are not limited to configuration management knowledge repositories and financial data repositories. Configuration management knowledge repositories contain the version of the software. Configuration means you are keeping a record of various versions of a document, right? This is called the configuration. It could be versions of the software or hardware or artifact or whatever, and even the baselines of all performing organizations, standards, policies, procedures, and any project documents. So all artifacts are naturally going to go through this configuration management, and all the record is kept in this configuration management database. Financial data repositories contain the information such as the labor hours, incurred cost, budget, and project cost overruns, etc. All this financial data is available in the financial data repository. Then there are historical information and lessons learned knowledge repositories. These house the project record and all the documents, all project closure information and documentation, information regarding both the results of previous project selection decisions and previous project performance information, and information from risk management activities. Issue and defect management data repositories will contain the issue and defect status, control information, issue and defect resolution, action item results, etc. Data repositories for metrics used to collect and make available measurement data on processes and products, and project files from previous projects, which could include any document. About scope, time, cost, performance measurement baseline, any of the baselines, project calendars, project schedule network diagram, risk registers, risk reports, scheduler, stakeholder registers, etc. So we have talked about the enterprise environmental factors. We have talked about the organizational process assets, and now we are going to talk about the next thing, which is organizational systems. So, what are organizational systems? Projects operate within the constraint imposed by the organization through their structure and governance framework. So, basically, there is a setting which the organization has created in which the project is happening. This setting defines the system around the project. To operate effectively and efficiently, the project manager needs to understand where responsibility, accountability, and authority reside within the organization. Whom should we be looking at for the responsibility, or for the accountability, or for the authority? So, project manager must be amply clear, because the most effective and efficient way of doing something is probably that you know what is in the authority of where. This understanding will help the project manager effectively use his or her power, influence, competence, leadership, and political capabilities successfully complete the project. So, the most effective way and most efficient way of completing the project is that project manager should know where the various powers reside. The interaction of multiple factors within an individual organization creates a unique system that impacts the project operating in that system. The resulting organizational system determines the power, influence, interest, competence, and political capabilities of the people who are able to act within the system. You see, whenever there is a system, the system has a mechanism, and mechanism will also include humans. Wherever there is human, there is power and there is influence, and the people have different interests, they have different competencies, and they have different political capabilities which they can manipulate. When I say political capabilities or politics in project management, that does not mean that you are talking about something negative. That means that you should be politically correct. You should be at right time at the right place. So I am not talking about the, you know, you are trying to do something fishy. So it is not negative I'm talking about, but you must understand who exercises what power and whom to consult for what purpose. Only that much. I am not talking about giving undue advantage to someone or getting an undue advantage from someone. The system factors include, but are not limited to, the management element, the governance framework, and the organizational structure types. So as far as the management element is concerned, we are most aware about it. That is the management level or middle or top management level. These are various management levels which are already existing. The complete information and explanation of the organizational system factors and how the combination of these factors impact a project are beyond the scope of this guide. So this guide is not going to be talking more about the organizational systems, but it is just going to be introducing this much to you. There are disciplines with associated literature, methodologies, and practices that address these factors in more depth than is possible within this guide. This section provides an overview of these factors and their interrelationship. This overview begins by discussing systems in general. A system is a collection of various components. So naturally, a system is made up of some parts. So these are the various components which put together has become a system. So these various components are put together can produce results not obtainable by individual components alone. If these five components were working separately, they could not have produced what the system can produce. Because once these components are joined together synergetically into a system, it can produce much more than the individual components could have done. So an individual component is an identifiable element within the project or organization that provides a particular function or group of related functions. The interaction of the various system components create the organizational culture and capabilities. Now, this is a very important statement. You have got a number of components in your organization, and the way they interact with each other, that will actually define the culture of the organization and the capability. You see, the organizational culture evolves out of how the components are placed together. But at the same time, when the organization was initially defined or created, there are certain cultural requirements or cultural uh, things which we could have injected into our initial policy. For example, just hold on, please. Okay, so I was defining the component. So this is an identifiable element within the project or organization that provides a particular function or group of related functions. The interaction between these components will actually define the organizational culture and the capabilities. There are several principles regarding systems. Systems are dynamic. Systems can keep changing. Systems can be optimized. They can be improved. System components can be optimized. No, not only the system, but their components. Each one of the component can be separately optimized. So there is an element of continuous improvement in each one of the component as well as the whole system. System and their components cannot be optimized at the same time. This is again a rule. Either you optimize the system as a whole from top down, or you optimize the component from bottom up, but you can't start optimizing both from the both sides. So system cannot be optimized uh, along with its components at the same time. Systems are non-linear in responsiveness. A change in the input does not produce a predictable change in the output. So system does not mean that if you put this much, it will give you that much. So this is non-linear in response. Maybe you increase the system, you increase the size of the system, but the inputs and outputs are not changed. Maybe the bigger system starts getting more input and keeps giving the same output which it was giving earlier. So systems are non-linear in responsiveness, but it all depends upon your design. How, if you are in trying to increase the productivity, the most effective and efficient way that the components can be put together, this is your responsibility how to design it. Multiple changes may occur within the system and between the system and its environment. When these changes take place, adaptive behavior occurs within the component that in turn adds to the system's dynamics. So, uh, systems have a possibility of continuous improvement that I have already said. The systems can be optimized, their components can be optimized. Therefore, we can anytime feel the need to enhance or improve any component or the whole system for that matter. And therefore, adaptive behavior does occur within the components that in turn add to the system dynamics. So, system, the basic definition, the first one component was system dynamic. So, system dynamic are defined by the interaction between the components based on the relationship and dependencies that exist between the components. So systems are typically the responsibility of an organization's management. So who manages the systems? Managers manage the system. The various levels of management, maybe it is the supervisory management, the lower level, or the middle level, or the top level management. Management is is responsible to keep the system running. The responsibility of running the system is with the management, no matter what level we are talking about. Organizational management, organizations management examines the optimization trade-off between the components and the system in order to take the appropriate action to achieve the best outcomes for the organization. That is, achieving effectiveness and efficiency. The result of this examination will impact the project under consideration. It is important that the project manager takes these results into account when determining how to fulfill the project's objectives. The project manager should take into account the organization's governance framework. Now, what is an organization's governance framework? That is altogether a completely new science. Now, I would like to interact with you here, and I would like to ask you uh, if you know what is the difference between governance and management. So please raise hands. Governance and management. Nobody is interesting to share. Should I nominate someone? I hope you understand, but naturally that has to be clarified. जी जनाब शाहिद साहब. जी शाहिद साहब. Governance and
जी सर.
management difference.
Sir, sir, governance is your own defined policies, procedures, frameworks, mechanism, how a certain department works, or what would be the internal policies, procedures,
Right.
uh, these kind of things. And
Mhm.
management is the the check and balance and the regular uh, hierarchy of any organization or any resource, something like that.
Mhm. Mhm. Wonderful, very rightly brought up. Anyone who want to contribute? Anyone else? Usman? जी Usman. उस्मान आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही, माइक ऑन कीजिएगा।
Hello,
जी जी उस्मान।
sir. Governance is about good and bad. We can evaluate governance like positively or negatively. And whereas management is concerned, we manage things like it includes management of a particular project, we can say.
हम्म। नहीं, वो गुड और
जी
बैड वाली बात नहीं समझ आई, फिर बताइएगा।
सर, लाइक गुड और बैड हम टारगेट्स अचीव कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं, डिलीवरेबल हमारा लाइक एज पर स्कोप है या नहीं है।
ओके, देखिए गवर्नेंस तो कोई चीज होगी ना, वो अच्छी हो या बुरी हो, लेकिन गवर्नेंस
जी
पूछा है, गुड या बैड नहीं पूछा, वो तो उसकी टाइप्स होगी ना कि ये अच्छी है या बुरी है। हम ये बात कर रहे हैं कि गवर्नेंस है क्या।
राइट सर।
तो गवर्नेंस जो है वो मैं आपसे एग्री करता हूं कि गवर्नेंस अच्छी भी हो सकती है, बुरी भी हो सकती है, लेकिन गवर्नेंस है क्या, युष्मान? ओके, शाहिद साहब हैड वेरी नाइसली described it already. The basic input, how the organization should run. The top level executive have a vision of how organization should be run. This is the basic set of policies or guidelines. Basic set of policies or guidelines, or this is the direction they have given to the organization. And they have set their parameters according to this governance framework, that anybody who will not be following this governance framework will be in defiance to the organization. Now, management is responsible to act according to this governance framework. This is the law. Governance is now the law. According to this governance framework, they should create their policies and procedures in accordance with the governance structure and ensure that everything is done according to the governance framework. Now, talking about good or bad governance is, if there is no governance framework, naturally this is something bad. No governance framework, then every manager is creating his own policies, his own procedures, and managing his department in his own way. There is no mechanism at the top level to see if some regulations are being followed or not, because there are no regulations at all. So first point is, the existence of governance framework should be there. Number two, the translation of governance from framework into the policies and procedures by the management should be there. Number three, this these policies and procedures in accordance with the organizational governance framework must be implemented. Implemented means that there should be a check and balance system which actually ensures that these policies or procedures are being followed. And number four, there should be a system to, because it was law to follow these things. So, is there a mechanism of carrot and stick which can ensure that these laws or these governance framework is being followed? Anybody who is not following it, this must be punishable. Or those people who are following it, they must be rewarded. So there must be a mechanism to ensure that the system is working. A good governance would only be possible when all of these tiers are working properly. Top level is giving a proper governance framework. Management level is actually translating that and ensuring its implementation. And the lowest level, again, it is under the management to do the policing and giving the punishment or reward, coercion or reward. So if all of these elements are, take the example of the government. If government does not make a direct, correct governance framework for the country, for running the country, there is no law of the land in the country. If they do have the governance structure and the management, the bureaucracy they do not have the right policies and procedures, they can't apply it. And if these policies and procedures are existing and nobody is following them and nobody is checking them, then again it is a management flaw. So it is again bad governance. And if you are following it and you are doing everything, but anyone who is not following it and when he is caught, he is not being punished for that. So it is again bad governance. So bad governance will be leakage in any one of these levels. So governance framework will explain this. A project management should take into account the organizational governance framework. So everybody in the organization must take into account, but because the project manager is going to be doing his project, so he is also under the same law, organizational governance framework. So under the organizational governance framework, he will create his own project governance framework. Rather, not project manager, but the sponsor or the program manager, whomsoever is above the project manager, he would actually give him the governance framework for running the project. And project manager would then create policies and procedures within the project in the project management plan. Basically, governance framework is translated into the project management plan by the project manager. I mean, the project governance framework I'm talking about. Organizational governance framework is a bigger umbrella. Under it, there might be a departmental governance framework. There might be a portfolio governance framework. There might be a program governance framework, and then the project governance framework. I'm talking about the organizational project management thing. As far as the operations are concerned, they may have their own governance framework as per their departments. So this basically this is translated. The governance framework is translated from top down. The research suggests that the concept of governance is multidimensional and it includes consideration of people, roles, structures, and policies, and requires providing direction and oversight through data and feedback. So there must be a fully integrated system. Any part of the system is not working, that is a leakage. And leakage means bad governance. Simple as that. So it should be a airtight kind of a system. So governance is the framework within which the authority is exercised in organizations. This framework includes but is not limited to the rules, policies, procedures, norms, relationships, systems, processes. All of these things come under the framework, the governance framework. This framework influences how objectives of the organizations are set and achieved, how risks are monitored and assessed, and the performance is optimized. So this is how our governance framework works from at the top level. The governance of portfolios, programs, and projects, a practice guide, has been released by PMI, and if you can read it, you will understand the role of governance in portfolio, program, and project. It is not about the organizational governance, but naturally the governance of portfolios, programs, and projects comes from the organization. Therefore, governance of portfolio, programs, and projects is a very good read for project managers or the people who are involved in project programs or portfolios. This describes a common governance framework aligning organizational project management and portfolio programs and project management. The practice guide describes 4 governance domains: alignment, risk, performance, and communications. So if you go through these standards, you will learn a lot many good things. Each domain of, like I said, alignment, risk, performance, and communication, these are the 4 domains. Each domain has the following functions. How that domain can have the oversight, how it can be controlled, how it can be integrated, and how the decisions can be made out of it. Each function has governance supporting processes and activities for standalone projects or projects operating within the portfolio or program environment. Project governance refers to the framework, functions, and processes that guide project management activities in order to create a unique product, service, or result. So, when we are talking about the project governance, the focus is on the deliverable. When we are talking about the program governance, the focus is on the benefit. So, governance is one thing, Policies and procedures is the other thing, and then is the management plan itself. So there is a project management plan which is created due to the project governance provided to us. There is a program management plan because there is a program governance provided to us. There is no one governance framework that is effective in all organizations. So every organization must create their own governance framework at various levels. Naturally, this is a hierarchy of governance framework, right from the top, organizational governance framework, and then departmental and whatever, and ultimately, if you're doing the project, then there is a project governance framework. A governance framework should be tailored to the organizational culture, to the types of the projects, and the needs of the organization in order to be effective. For more information, you must read this practice standard. Management elements are the components that comprise the key functions or principles of general management in the organization. So when we talk about management, we are actually referring to the general management of the organization. So different hierarchical levels of GMs and other managers, and this all comes under that. The general management elements are allocated within the organization according to its governance framework and the organizational structure type selected. So organizational structure is also dependent upon this. Key functions of principles of management include but are not limited to. So these are the general principles of management. Division of work using specialized skills and availability to perform work. Authority given to perform work. First of all, the work should be divided authoritatively and properly to the specialized skills. Then the person who has been assigned a work, he must be given the due authority to get the job done. Responsibility to perform work appropriately assigned based on the such attributes as skills and experience. So responsibility must be delegated down to the person who is actually capable of doing it. Discipline of action. This is the respect for authority, people, and rules. This is the discipline. Then unity of command. Only one person gives orders for any action or activity to an individual. The, so for that purpose, only one person will be giving him the orders. There might be different people talking about different things to that person. So that is a kind of a matrix structure. But unity of command means that for one purpose, only one person is giving orders to a person. Then unity of direction. One plan and one head for a group of activities with the same objective. General goals of the organization take precedence over individual goals. So organizational objectives are more important than individual objectives. Paid fairly for work performed. This is very important, that whomsoever is being used, who is working, must be paid fairly for what services that he is giving. And this is extremely very poor, especially in our country. We are not paying people what they deserve. Optimal use of resources. So again, we are very poor at optimal use of resources. If you hire a carpenter or a laborer and ask him to do something, he would uh, procrastinate, he will delay the work, and in एक दिहाड़ी में वो कुछ भी नहीं करता. Hardly 1 hour job he will complete in the whole day. So if at all we are paying fairly to someone, that optimal use of resources should be there. Clear communication channels should be there. Right materials to the right person for the right job at the right time. So whatever the tools and techniques you require, you must be provided those at the right time when you require them, not before, not after. Fair and equal treatment of people in the workplace. Clear security of work positions. Safety of people in the workplace. Open contribution to planning and execution by each person, and optimal morale. Performance of these management elements are assigned to selected individuals within the organization. These individuals may perform the noted functions within various organizational structures. For example, in a hierarchical structure, there are horizontal and vertical levels within the organization. These hierarchical levels range from the line management level through to the executive management level. In an organization, if you look at the hierarchy of the organizational structure, the top level is the executive management level. The next level might be the management level, or you may define them. And the lowest level is the line management level. Line management level is actually dealing with the people. The responsibility, accountability, and authority assigned to the hierarchical level indicate how the individual may perform the noted function within the organizational structure. Determination of the appropriate organizational structure type is a result of the study of trade-offs between two key variables. And these variables are organizational structure types available for use and how to optimize them for a given organization. Every organization will have its own mechanism. So you have to first study that organization. Yes, Faisal. जी फैसल बोलिए.
सर की टॉप मैनेजमेंट और मिडिल मैनेजमेंट होती है तो
जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
ये जो गवर्नेंस में भी टॉप मैनेजमेंट we can call
नहीं. Governance is different. देखिए, the management is management. Management is supposed to translate the governance into the policies and procedures and then implement them and ensure them. वो सारी मैनेजमेंट का काम मैनेजमेंट का है. लेकिन मैनेजमेंट को हुक्म कौन देता है? उससे ऊपर के लेवल. मिसाल के आपकी बात सही हो सकती है कि मिडिल लेवल मैनेजमेंट जो कुछ कर रही है उसका हुक्म, उसका गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर उसको जो मिला हुआ है या जो पॉलिसी मिली हुई है, ब्रॉड पॉलिसी, वो उसको ऊपर से मिली हुई है अपने एग्जीक्यूटिव लेवल मैनेजमेंट से. सो in every organization there will be a governance level and a management level, and all the management levels are orchestrated in that way. For example, आपका मुल्क का जो सदर है वो गवर्नर है पूरे मुल्क का, जबकि जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर है वो मैनेजर है पूरे मुल्क का. इसी तरह जो डेलीगेट कर दी आपने आगे, आपके सूबे बने हुए हैं, सूबों के गवर्नर हैं और चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं. इसी तरह गवर्नर जो है वो बेसिकली उसकी गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर देते हैं, और जो चीफ मिनिस्टर है ही इज सपोज टू बी द मैनेजर ऑफ द सूबा. अब वो जब ब्यूरोक्रेसी को आगे देता है तो वो अपना गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर उसको देता है, और फिर मैनेजमेंट जो है उसके हिसाब से अपनी पॉलिसीज वजह करती है. इस तरह ये नीचे की तरफ चीजें ट्रांसलेट होती चली जाती हैं. इज इट ओके फैजल?
this means that governance is part and parcel of all the management now. Top management is also having governance. Management, middle management is also having governance.
बिल्कुल, लेकिन गवर्नेंस जो है वो एक नॉच अप है. मतलब ये कि टॉप लेवल एग्जीक्यूटिव है उसके ऊपर भी कोई गवर्नेंस है. ठीक है ना? उसको कोई तो बताएगा ना कि भाई टॉप लेवल एग्जीक्यूटिव, मतलब मिसाल के तौर पे सीईओ है और उसकी जो आपकी क्या कहते हैं एग्जीक्यूटिव कमेटी है, तो सीईओ विल गिव द गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर टू द एग्जीक्यूटिव कमेटी, और द एग्जीक्यूटिव कमेटी विल फॉर्म अ गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर फॉर द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड गिव इट टू द लोअर लेवल मैनेजमेंट. आप नॉर्मली इनके अंदर जो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट और ये वो लेवल होते हैं, ये आपके आ जाते हैं फिर गवर्नेंस लेवल के. तो यस, यू कैन हैव सेपरेट लेवल्स फॉर गवर्नेंस और सेपरेट लेवल्स फॉर मैनेजमेंट, बट विद इन दी मैनेजमेंट जब आप एक मैनेजमेंट लेवल से एक मुल्क से एक सूबे की तरफ जाते हैं तो वहां पर भी मुल्क सूबे को कोई हिदायत देता है, कोई गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर देता है, गवर्नेंस फ्रेमवर्क देता है.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
जी हाफिज आसिम. जी आसिम, आप क्या कह रहे थे? आसिम का माइक म्यूट हुआ हुआ है. आसिम ने लिखा था जी, यूएसए इज गिविंग अस गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर एंड आवर गवर्नमेंट इज एग्जीक्यूटिंग इट. वेल, नॉट रियली. गवर्नेंस देखिए ना, जब आप कहते हैं ना कि हम एक सुवीनियर कंट्री हैं, तो इसका मतलब है कि आप किसी से डिक्टेशन नहीं लेते. ठीक है. This although this could be a joke, but not applicable here because countries do not act like that. Countries have their own governance structure and वो फिर अपना governance structure नीचे देते हैं. लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे साथ यही तो सबसे बड़ा जुल्म है कि हम लोग अपना गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर बनाने की अहलियत ही नहीं रखते और इस वजह से हम कभी इसको मुंह उठा के देखते हैं, कभी उसको मुंह उठा के देखते हैं. आप यूं देखिए कि जो हमारा विजन अपना बना हुआ है, ये जो प्लानिंग कमीशन का, वो कहीं पर भी ये बात नहीं कहता कि ये मुल्क कहाँ जाएगा, मुल्क का क्या विजन है. वो ये कहता है कि सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स कैसे अचीव होंगे. और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल किसके हैं, भले वो कितने ही अच्छे क्यों ना हो, लेकिन सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स हैं यूनाइटेड नेशन के. ठीक है जी. सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स के अचीव करने के लिए आप पूरा मुल्क चला रहे हैं या आपके मुल्क का अपना भी कोई मकसद या ऑब्जेक्टिव है, तो आपकी बात एक हद तक ठीक हो जाती है कि हमें तो हमारे जो क्या कहते हैं डोरियां तो कोई और खींच रहा होता है. लेकिन खैर, अगर हम ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल परस्पेक्टिव में बात करें तो वी मस्ट हैव अ मैकेनिज्म एंड टॉप लेवल जो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं दे शुड गिव अ गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर जिसके तहत काम चलना चाहिए. राइट जी. So coming back, determination of the appropriate organizational structure type is a result of study of the trade-offs between two key types. जिसमें हमने कहा कि एक वेरिएबल तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के स्ट्रक्चर्स किस किस किस्म के आपके यहाँ पॉसिबल हैं और उनको फिर ऑप्टिमाइज कैसे किया जा सकता है. देयर इज नॉट अ वन साइज फिट्स ऑल स्ट्रक्चर फॉर एनी गिवन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. द फाइनल स्ट्रक्चर फॉर अ गिवन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज यूनिक ड्यू टू द न्यूमरस वेरिएबल्स टू बी कंसिडर्ड. In the subsequent slides, we'll be talking about various of these examples of some of the factors to be included when considering the two variables, and we will discuss one organizational structure that is prevalent in the project management. So, if you look at this table, although this is very uh, small, but you have to focus on it a bit. This actually defines various kinds of organizational structures possible for projects. Well, this is a bit complicated because previously this chart was much easier to understand, but now they have made it a bit more complicated because they have tried to add up all types of diverse functions organizational structures could have. So the topmost is organic or simple. This is just look at the top level project characteristics. Work groups are arranged by, then project manager's authority, project manager's role, resource availability, who manages the budget, and project management administrative staff. So let's look at it. Organic or simple organizational structure is flexible and people working side by side. So they are, working together. Project manager authority is little or none. Project manager's role is kind of part-time and may or may not be designated job role like a project manager. This could maybe just a coordinator kind of a thing. Resource availability, little or none. Who manages the project budget is the owner of that job, whatever that small little job is, and little or none administrative staff. So this is the least form of a project where a personal project, a small little project by a owner is being taken care of, and there is no dedicated team or any special arrangements made for that. Functional organization is the conventional hierarchical organization in which the operations run. Though the functional organization is not designed for project management, but functional organization we can use for running certain projects, though not very efficiently. Again here, the job is being done by the manufacturing or engineering or whatever the department is. So it is grouped according to that. Project manager again has almost no authority. Project manager's role is again part-time and it may not be a proper, it just be a coordinator. Resources availability will be dependent on from where the resources are coming. So this is also not assured. And the budget is managed. This is very important. the budget is managed by the functional manager. Like in the previous case, in organic, it was operated by the owner. Small little business, owner is managing a small little project by himself. So owner is managing the budget. So in this case, it's a larger organization, a functional organization, and the functional manager is responsible for the budget. And again, the team and administrative staff is part-time. So again, this is not a very favorable event. The first two cases are not favorable for project management, but they may be suitable. Functional may be suitable, very suitable for operations. Organic or simple structure could be very useful for very small organization. Then we have got multi-divisional may replicate functions for each division with little centralization. So not much of difference, but here one of product, production, processes, portfolio, program, geographic regions, customer type. So you could have a category. You could categorize the work groups in, and rest everything is same. Functional manager is managing it. Project manager is part-time, no authority, nothing. So this is also almost the same. Then comes the matrix. Matrix is a revolution. In matrix, we say that rather than putting separate teams under separate bosses, why can't we have the same team put under many bosses? Then you would say it is not unity of command. No, it is actually in unity of command. What we studied was that order about a specific thing is only given by one person. The other person can order the same person for another thing. So one subject is handled by one person. So this is unity of command. So here what we are doing is we are trying to put the same worker under more than one bosses. In this specific sense, in a functional organization where a person is answerable to the functional manager, we have also made this person answerable to a project manager, right? For project purposes. So unity of command is there. For project purposes, project manager is giving him orders, and for functional purposes, functional manager is giving him orders. So this is efficient that we can get the job done by the same person. We do not hire another person, but the same person is allocated to more than one bosses. But the problem here is who exercises more power. If the project manager exercises more power than the operational manager, it would be called as a strong matrix. In a strong matrix, project manager exercises moderate to high authority. Project manager is a full-time designation here, and resources are moderately available. Project manager is controlling the budget, and project manager staff is also full-time available. Then we have a weak matrix where project manager is not stronger than the functional manager. Functional manager has the power. So again here the work is grouped by the job function. Project manager has low authority. He is a part-time role. He has low resource availability. Functional manager controls the budget, and the administrative staff of the project is also part-time. Third type is a matrix of a balanced matrix type. Balanced matrix is a structure in which project manager and functional manager somehow accommodate each other. Now, it does not mean that both of them are at the same level of hierarchy, but maybe there are 10 functional managers in the organization, and this project manager has been put under command of one of these functional managers. That makes that functional manager boss of this project manager. Although the persons required for the project have to be acquired by from different departments, but now project manager doesn't have to run from pillar to post, because he can always complain to his boss that the other functional managers are not giving him the resources. And functional manager, who is the boss of the project manager and who has personal interest in the project, now can coordinate at peer level with other functional managers and ensure that those resources are made available for the project, thus making it possible for project manager to complete the project successfully. So this time again, we have got, though a part-time role, but project manager has got a mixed kind of authority and mixed kind of control on budget. Project-oriented organization is where project manager is wholly solely in charge of the project. There is no need for functions. Just like there is an organization in which there are no finance department, no HR department, nothing, but the all the different projects are being run, and different project managers are directly reporting to the chief executive officer. Maybe the project so run are managing their own human resources and finances and all that. So whatever they are doing, but they are not having any function. So in this case, the project is the entity. Project manager has all the authority. He is full-time designated. The resources are dedicatedly available, and project manager is controlling the budget. This is the most ideal structure for running the projects, but I said ideal. I did not say possible. The most possible structure is the best structure possible is the strong matrix, and the least bearable structure is balanced matrix. Although we dream of having a project-oriented organization, yes, if that is possible, well and good, but this is seldom possible. Then we have got a virtual kind of environment in which people are working from different places. This could be a full-time or part-time project job. People might be working online, and it could be a full-time job for the administrative staff. So this could work pretty well in today's environment in cloud computing and all. Even people are doing the agile projects on this multicultural virtual environment. Then there could be a mix of any of the above structures. You could create any kind of a hybrid model in which you can do. So in that, all of these things are kind of mixed. Uh, Last but not the least is the PMO. PMO, I won't really call it a organization structure, but sometimes it does behave like organization structure, because what we have done is that on top is the PMO, and under the PMO are the different project managers. So I would say this is very much like the projectized organizational structure. So in a PMO, it's a mixed type of a structure where project manager has got more authority. So project manager is directly answerable to PMO, and PMO is directly answerable to the chief executive. Therefore, all the jobs get done pretty well. So these are the various organizational structures. Each organization considers numerous factors for inclusion in its organizational structure. Each factors may carry a different level of importance in the final analysis. Combination of the factor, its value, relative importance provides the organization's decision makers with the right information for inclusion in the analysis. Factors to consider in selecting an organizational structure include but are not limited to degree of alignment with the organizational objectives. Naturally, your organizational structure must be aligned with your organizational objectives. Specialization capabilities, if you are an organization which specializes in certain capabilities, then those should be highlighted in the organizational structure, definitely. Span of control, efficiency, and effectiveness. Clear path for escalation of decisions. Clear line and scope of authority, and delegation capabilities. So these are some of the factors for selecting an organization structure. More are accountability assignment, responsibility assignment, adaptability of design, simplicity of design, efficiency of performance and cost performance, and physical allocations and clear communication. Coming over to the project management office, although this was an organization structure also, that is exactly why they have put it there. So this is an organization structure that standardizes the project related governance processes. So this could be a headquarter of project related or change oriented work. All the projects and programs being run under that organization could be, the governance structure could be provided from there. The governance processes and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools, and techniques. Responsibilities of a PMO can range from providing project management support function to the direct management of one or more projects. There are several types of PMOs in the organization, but PMBOK 6th edition, there are many ways of categorizing them. Don't think that this is the only three types of PMO. This is one view, one way of looking at the PMOs. There could be these three types. There could be many other types of PMO in different other causalities. So here a PMI describes a supportive PMO, a controlling PMO, and a directive PMO. Before I can go ahead with that, I would like to explain the purpose of the PMO. Maybe I talked about it a bit little yesterday also, but PMO, the purpose is to facilitate the CEO, to provide a dashboard to the chief executive. Therefore, Therefore, when I am trying to summarize the data for the chief executive, I must have access to all the data of the project. I must be able to summarize that and produce it into that abstracted form which is desired by the top level executive. So uh, uh, I am facilitating the top level executive, as well as I can also serve as a support office to all the subordinate uh, projects and programs by helping them out. So this is basically a supportive kind of a function. So basic function of a PMO is a supportive function. Second thing, which I think is most important for a PMO, is to act as a governance hub, act as a policy making place where the project management system is devised, where the governance structures are designed, where the archives are the organizational process assets are held. So this is the center of excellence for project management in an organization. Therefore, if I make it a center of excellence, this is no more a support function. This is more of a specialized function. A specialized PMO, in a support function, I could survive with clerical staff. But if I am making it that powerful that it has holding all the data for the project and making the governance structure, then I need to have a very senior project manager, gray-haired man, to head this PMO, who can not only develop all these things. Actually, he will not be working alone. There will be a full team of project managers sitting with him. So not only develop this thing, but he should be able to mentor, coach, and guide others. He should also be able to select various, do the training need assessment for different project teams and select the software and other things for the whole organization for project management purposes and get them trained on that. So this is making the policies and procedures. Once these policies and procedures and trainings are over, the support function is over. Then it may be mandated. PMO may be mandated to ensure that all the policies and procedures which have been created are being implemented. So this, when you start implementing and you start enforcing the policies and procedures, you become a controlling PMO. And the last level of PMO, the highest level of PMO, is when it directly starts managing and controlling projects, which is almost it is not really desirable. This is dangerous. We should not be doing it until and unless we have gone through the stages of supporting and controlling PMO. Directive is too much powerful, and normally a junior level person heading a directive PMO can be a disaster for the organization. In a supportive PMO, provides a consultative role to projects by supplying templates, best practices, training, access to the information, lessons learned from other projects. This type of PMO serves as a project repository. The degree of control provided by the PMO is very low. In controlling PMO, it provides support and require compliance through various means. You see, in previous supporting thing, we were not we were just creating the rules and the documents, policies, procedures, and all that. We are just advising. We are not mandating. But in controlling, we are enforcing. A degree of control provided by PMO is moderate. Compliance may involve adoption of project management framework or methodologies, use of specific templates, forms, and tools, and conformance to the governance framework. And to top it all is the directive PMO. Directive PMO takes control of the project by directly managing the projects. Project managers are assigned by and report to the PMO. The degree of control provided by the PMO is high. So this is what the three types of the PMOs are. The project management office may have organization-wide responsibility. Maybe it is a centralized PMO looking after all the projects and programs. within the organization. So it is organization-wide responsibility. It could be even a department-wise. There might be a separate department, a separate PMO for every department. So maybe this is a PMO for that department. So it will have department-wide responsibility. It could be a PMO within a program. Maybe there are 10 projects in a program, and it is difficult for program manager to manage them. So he sets up his own PMO. He may call it a program management office. Or if there is a very large or mega project and it has many sub projects, it has to be managed through a small little PMO within the mega project. This can also be possible. So it could be in any way. It could be an enterprise PMO, corporate PMO, portfolio PMO. It could be a centralized PMO. It could be a distributed PMO, departmental PMO, program PMO, project, and so on and so forth. It may play a role in supporting strategic alignment and delivering organizational value. The PMO integrates data and information from organizational strategic projects and evaluates how higher level strategy objectives are being fulfilled. So if it is a centralized PMO, it is organization-wide responsibility PMO, then probably it is also going to see whether the projects and programs being run in this organization are being aligned with the organizational strategy or not. Although every project manager is also ensuring that, but PMO would be doing the review of that. PMO is the natural liaison between the organization's portfolio program and projects and the organizational measurement system, which is called the balanced scorecard. Projects supported or administered by the PMO may not be related. Just like a portfolio, a PMO also does not need to have all the projects which are interrelated. It is only programs which needs interrelated projects. But there is a difference between PMO and a portfolio. Portfolio is a much higher level, has a much strategic thinking. But PMO may not be as strategic as portfolio, but like portfolio, it is also an organizational structure. Specific forms, functions, and structure of a PMO are dependent upon the needs of the organization that it supports. PMO may have the authority to act as an integral stakeholder or a key decision maker throughout the life of each project in order to keep it aligned with the business objective. So, in that case, PMO may make recommendations for that project, lead knowledge transfer, terminate the project, or take other actions as required. This all depends upon how much power you delegate to the PMO. So the primary functions of the PMO is to support, as I said earlier, support the project managers in a variety of ways, and that could be managing shared resources across all projects administered by PMO. If there are certain resources, if there is a dedicated resource for a project, that is the project manager's responsibility to manage it. But if there is a resource which is shared among 2 or 3 projects, then PMO will manage it. Identifying and developing project management methodology, best practices, and standards, this is PMO's responsibility. Coaching, mentoring, training, and oversight, monitoring compliance with project management standards, policies, procedures, and templates by means of project audits, developing and managing project policies, procedures, templates, and other shared documentation, and finally, coordinating communication across the projects. A PMO is an organizational structure, as we have already seen, that standardizes the project-related governance processes and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools, and techniques. So the responsibility of PMO can range from providing project management support function to the direct management of one or more projects. This is what we have already talked about. So this brings me to the end of this chapter. Any comments or questions are welcome. Please raise hands. Ji Ram, nothing? Because I do not intend moving on with the next chapter and I would like to close the session here. So it is better if you can ask questions and you can interact. We have got about 15 to 20 minutes left. Ji Janab, anyone? Open to house. Ji Faisal.
सर थोड़ा क्लैरिफाई कर देंगे मैट्रिक्स में और हाइब्रिड में क्या डिफरेंस है सर?
सर हाइब्रिड तो कोई चीज नहीं है ना। हाइब्रिड का तो मतलब है कि किसी को भी किसी के साथ मिला के आप कोई भी स्ट्रक्चर अपना बना लें। मैट्रिक्स जो है उसके अंदर स्पेसिफिकली एक तरफ फंक्शन खड़ा हुआ है, दूसरी तरफ प्रोजेक्ट खड़ा हुआ है। फंक्शनल मैनेजर भी एग्जिस्ट करता है, प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर भी एग्जिस्ट करता है, लेकिन दोनों को बंदा एक ही मिला हुआ है काम करने के लिए, या टीम वही है। तो उसी टीम को फंक्शनल मैनेजर भी ऑर्डर कर रहा है अपने कामों के लिए, और प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर भी ऑर्डर कर रहा है अपने कामों के
डोंट यू थिंक ये तीनों को स्ट्रॉन्ग, वीक और बैलेंस मैट्रिक्स को मिक्स करके उन्होंने हाइब्रिड बना दिया?
लिए। नहीं 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 नहीं, वो हाइब्रिड में तो कहता है कि आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में एक पोर्शन जो है वो फंक्शनल चल रहा है, एक हाइब्रिड चल रहा है, सॉरी एक वो क्या कहते हैं, एक डिपार्टमेंट जो है वो फुली प्रोजेक्टाइज चल रहा है, कहीं कोई और चल रहा है, इस तरह की चीज, मतलब मिक्स एंड मैच। और एक्चुअली आपको इसी तरह की इन्वायरमेंट अपने प्रोजेक्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में मिलती है कि पूरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर मुख्तलिफ किस्म के स्ट्रक्चर्स देखने को मिलते हैं। तो जहां आपको इस तरह का रंग बिरंगा माहौल मिले, वहां आप कहते हैं कि ये हाइब्रिड माहौल है।
सर सेकंड क्वेश्चन है, ईएफ इंटरनल जो है सर और ओपीएस सर, ये बहुत ही मिक्स हो रहे हैं आपस में। इनसाइड द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है तो ओपीए बन जाते हैं सर, वो अदरवाइज वो ईएफ इंटरनल है।
नहीं नहीं नहीं
कैन यू
नहीं 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 नहीं। एक बात याद रखिएगा कि जो एंटरप्राइज नॉमिनल फैक्टर है वो कागज नहीं है, वो डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं है। A rule or a policy is not an enterprise environmental factor. That is a factor. देखिए कल्चर एक माहौल है, माहौल एक इंटरनल फैक्टर है। कल्चर के लिखा तो नहीं होता ना, आपके काम करने का स्टाइल के लिखा तो नहीं होता ना कि काम ऐसे करना है। जो एसओपीज है वो एक अलग चीज है। एसओपीज आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन प्रोसेस एसेट्स में आएंगी, पॉलिसीज प्रोसीजर्स, ऑल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन इज ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल प्रोसेस एसेट्स, एंड ऑल फैक्टर्स, मौसम की गर्मी सर्दी, माहौल ऐसा, तबीयत ऐसी, फलानी चीज ऐसी, ये तमाम चीजें जो है ये फैक्टर्स हैं। ये इंटरनल भी हो सकती हैं और ये एक्सटर्नल भी हो सकती हैं, ये बात।
थैंक यू सर।
जी आसिम, आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे थे? आपने पूछा कि पीएमओ और प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर में कोई फर्क है या नहीं है। पहली बात तो ये है कि जी बहुत फर्क है। प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर में और पीएमओ में बहुत ज्यादा फर्क है। पीएमओ इज डायरेक्टली रिस्पॉन्सिबल, या यूं कहना चाहिए कि डे टू डे वर्किंग ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट के लिए जो बंदा असाइन किया गया है वो प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर है, पीएमओ नहीं है। पीएमओ इज इंटरम बॉडी, बीच में एक बॉडी बैठी हुई है। अगर सपोर्ट रोल में है तो उसका काम कुछ भी नहीं है, हुक्म चलाना भी नहीं है उसका काम। उसका काम है कि जनाब सर प्लीज अपनी रिपोर्ट जमा करा दें। आपसे रिपोर्टें पकड़ेगा, उनको समराइज करेगा, और जैसे सीईओ देखना चाहता है उस शक्ल में उसके सामने रख देगा। बस इतना सा काम है इसका। या पॉलिसीज बनाएगा, प्रोसीजर्स बनाएगा अगर उसे इजाजत मिली हुई है, और वो जनाब सीईओ से अप्रूव करा के आप तक पहुंचा देगा, खुद कुछ नहीं कर सकता। इसका मतलब है कि पीएम तो ना हुआ। अच्छा, अब हम कहते हैं जी अब इसको हम दे देते हैं क्या कहते हैं, डायरेक्ट क्या था, कंट्रोलिंग रोल। कंट्रोलिंग पीएमओ जब बनता है तो उसको कहते हैं इन्फोर्स भी करो। अब इन्फोर्स करेगा तो किसको करेगा? प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर जी के ऊपर करेगा ना। तो प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर का रोल हर प्रोजेक्ट में एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है। पीएमओ उसका बॉस बन गया एक तरह से, इस हद तक कि वो उसको कह सकता है कि भाई तुम ये क्यों नहीं फॉलो कर रहे। लेकिन डायरेक्टिंग वो वाहिद सिचुएशन है जहां पे वो वो फुल बॉस बन जाता है पीएम प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर का, और प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर को डायरेक्टली कमांड दे सकता है। और इसका ये कथन मतलब नहीं है कि पीएमओ जो है वही प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर है, लेकिन डायरेक्टिंग रोल ऐसा है जिसमें वो इसको ये कह सकता है कि प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर को भाई तू छुट्टी कर, तू घर जा, और मैं संभाल लूंगा सारा कुछ। सो ही बिकम्स अ प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर फॉर एनी प्रोजेक्ट और ऑल द प्रोजेक्ट। But this is a very dangerous situation. A PMO cannot be a boss, cannot be a project manager for all the projects. ये कैसे मुमकिन है? नहीं हो सकता ना। Therefore, this is to be avoided. सपोर्ट पीएमओ तक रहे, या बहुत ज्यादा है तो कंट्रोलिंग तक आ जाए, मगर डायरेक्टिंग पीएमओ इज नॉट एडवाइजेबल। जी जनाब, आप सेटिस्फाइड? Okay. Any other question, ji? Anyone else? Please raise hands. Acha, still we have some time, but if there are any questions, I can close the session now. So I am again very much thankful to you for being so patient and for especially interacting with me. But I would love to have more interaction. I know I'm speaking most of the time. I don't give you the time, but I do want to interact with you, to discuss with you, and that way we can learn better. We all can learn better. Thank you very much and see you tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Bye.